chaos way with an Arcane Ascension. I usually don't say that, but I think I'm gonna do that more and more. That's the point of this, hopefully to try to make the Ascension a little bit less arcane, because mine certainly has been arcane. I've been blessed. I've had those around me at certain times with depths and levels of understanding, but we all have to navigate that ourselves. But anyhow, with that being said, I was just called to share this, and before I go any further, I do want to go ahead and say sorry that this is going to be more specific to geared towards men. This is a masculine template clearing. And I mean, by all means, women can participate. There's stuff there. By all means, it's just kind of the other side of the spectrum to a degree, but not always. There's not going into that. So by all means, could be fitting. But this is specifically geared towards a lot of like old like black magic grids and trauma and lust and contracts and things of this nature. So they're really just old contracts and kind of attachments and things, allegiances. And there's a lot of subtlety to this. I don't know how much I'm gonna go on because it's it's up to you. It's how much you're plugging yourself into different things and your allegiances and willingness and your depth of awareness. But a lot of people are at this place now where they're forced to see and look at the things within themselves of where they're aligned with something energetically that's pulling and getting more magnetism in their life, and that magnetism's pulling away from what they really want to be aligned with, and so that's what I'm talking. It's really simple. It's not that complicated, and but there is depths and levels to this. So as we do this, I'm going to say I wouldn't suggest driving while doing this. Or doing it out if you've been out in the heat, or if you're operating heavy equipment, all those disclaimers, because there's gonna be a breathing part that I would kind of really throw in there, and also even with the other stuff, but there can be stuff, especially if you're new, and even if you're think you're somewhat advanced, you can get thrown into states of consciousness kind of spontaneously, and certain things, the intention is to bring that about. So that's that. It is what it is. So with that being said, the breathing is this came through fairly recently. I believe I experimented with it before for a little while, and just kind of throw it on the back burner, and did a little bit more like some breathing stuff, but I really honestly don't do like a whole crazy lot. Like I do it more intentional. It's more clearing and alignment. I find that if I become aware that something's very clearly in my field out of place, the breathing, alignment, and chanting, obviously they can go hand in hand, but they're all great. So with this one, the sequence is very simple to remember. So it's going to be in for 3 seconds, but this 3 seconds is going to be a deep, quick, as much as you can get from the belly, just really drawing that up almost from the root, just drawing that in, and then you're holding, I can't do this as I'm explaining it, so I'll do it after I explain the whole thing. So 3 seconds, 3, 6, 9 is going to be the sequence. 3 seconds, breathe in. 6 seconds, pause. 9 seconds, out. And that 9 seconds is slow. All right, so watch. We're going to do this here. All right. All right. So yeah, you follow the 3-6-9 sequence, and with that, you're gonna, this can really, even if you've done different types of breathing, potentially, you'll see when you tune into this, it really has the potential to activate. Right. This is activating and tuning in. Is from what I've been made aware to an aspect that's the restorative Solomonic shield. Right. So this is a Solomonic shield template. It helps to restore and tune into that. Right. And it's just a very simple, simple. I mean, how simple is breathing? Can you tell? Yeah, super simple. And if the intention is aligned with that, and especially, all right, guys, I'm also operating under the assumption that you are familiar with the Maharaj shield, the 12-dimensional shield activation, and that kind of sequencing of the chakra system, right? So if you're not familiar with that, I would stop, and I've actually got somebody's I'll suggest in the comments. I'll put that in there. So yeah, so anyhow, so it's the same, but and really, even if you weren't familiar with that and you're familiar with the kind of original 7 chakra limited system template, you can work with that, and so because you're familiar with that center column. But there is it's there's some stuff there. That's what I'm saying. If you're working with that, there can be some stuff that's going to come up, and that's fine. That's what we want, guys. There's a lot of people that are holding this pain and trauma and self-judgment and guilt, right? So this is really what it comes down to. It's like, because you've created this juxtaposition within yourself to where it's like you want to get rid of this, but you don't want to like look at what you think it's caused, and that self-judgment and these constrictions. And so it's like all these little knots, and you cannot get rid of one without getting rid of all. That's so you've got to be willing to just blast through all that. It's not going to work otherwise. It's going to keep looping, because all those threads are intertwined, and it's going to reweave through those others. That's been my experience, at least. That it's because it's just repression and suppression. That's all that it is. You're not really clearing and healing and truly getting to the root, and then really establishing yourself and the truth of what you are too. Because you can clear away all you want, but then if you're not, that's what I said, if you're not familiar with that, like what you actually are, and that connection, what that field, that stable field of peace and presence without those influences feel like, then clear out, and just more of that shit's gonna creep back in, and just and this is me, it's not you. But anywho, so and that's fine. I'm not judging anybody, but everybody's where they're at and choosing what they want. But for those that have made it this far in this video, it's obvious you want something different. So with that being said, we'll continue on, and I'm not going to be able to do the breathing again. So as I'm going to be working with rose quartz. So if you have any, you got rose quartz, you can tune into that. If you don't, that's fine. You don't need it. Cool. But you can go get, so if you want to, and you like this and does something, and you feel called to go get them, and you can get rose quartz fairly cheap. And just tune in and trust yourself. Trust yourself. That's it. You may see me moving it or something and putting it in association to certain parts. Cool. I'm not saying necessarily you do that. You could be called to put it somewhere else or whatever. Trust yourself. That's it. That's it, Chief. All right. So anyhow, with that being said, let's get going. So I'm going to trust you to follow that breathing. If you fall out, I get it. I don't know how long this is going to go. I'm not saying you got to keep up that breathing for the whole time, but it's good to do initially. I would suggest doing it, for, a couple, as long as you can. Don't you start feeling weird, just chill. You'll be all right. Come back, whatever feels normal. But that's not a crazy one. I think it flows well. So just rock with it, and let's get going. So just get started with that flow. I'm gonna take a deep breath. Ashia tea, katea ye, shea tea, nea tea ye te, tea katea ye, tea ye tea katea, shutea nea, katea, tea, nea ye tea, shea tea ye, tea, shute, tea ye, katea ne shutea ye. Ote aie, shte, ete, heke te ash, ne, te aie, ote ashe a, te ane, ke te ashe, te ai, ote aia, ne, te aie, te a. She ayete ate neote she ate ayete ae note ate a shete meotenea ke ate shetue ketue ane ate ute shute ate aye tue ane shtea hetea keteanea Shate ayatea. All right. So with that, what we just did, we're going to seal that. Seal. At the eye. All right. So yeah, a lot of clearing there, a lot of tuned in, a lot of heart clearing, a lot of really what it is, how I see that is it's a grid locking of the heart. What they do is it's got something to do with that what they call the Anubis black heart thing. But there's a lot with that and a lot of folks and weird, but that's all playing out. And so it's like you don't even need to like look into certain stuff in terms and names. It's like all that is very that's a great aspect of the system, but it's like that's the way I see it, that's the harmonic aspect of the system, right? The way of framing it and labeling it and controlling it. And then the luciferic is like the organic, like just ever evolving and expanding and creating. And then the Christic is what's in the middle that unites the two and allows that blend and ever evolving organic creation to take place. So that's how I've seen it and come to experience and live it through me and see that. And you have the power. The power within that is how you feel. What that does is clearing and stabilizing your field in whatever way. That is your birthright. That is your inheritance. You have the power to command, as the son and daughter of God, to command the peace and presence that God has ordained and given to you. Duh. And we've denied that and given that power away, and so we're stepping back into that now. We're stepping back into that sovereignty and taking that back. And more and more you're coming into that for you, and seeing that you and your higher self alone, and what has your highest timeline. I say alone, but it's together with all. But it's alone in the sense that it's that unique aspect of the sonship, that has your highest potential and timeline and ability to assist and create with everyone in that. And so that field of stable presence within that is sanctified by that. And you lock that in. And when I do the seal thing, you know, it's like you can only that I'm not sealing you. You're sealing with your higher self. You've given yourself permission to say, hey, if I don't want to undo this, if this is how I want to feel, I have that right. Damn it. You know what I mean? That's it. And that's got like, this is not some, you know, Luciferic prideful distortion. No, that is sovereign. That is God given. That is the truth. And then what do we do from here? You know, who am I from here? What do I share from here? How do I want to live from here? I can't answer that. That's what I'm. Yeah, I answer. That's why I'm here still. I'm finding out how I want to do that. Share. I know how I want to do that. I want to share and create and grow in harmony and love and the law of one and service. Change this place, you know, for the best. Go wherever the calling will take me. Stay wherever I'm needed. You know, as it's always been. We just forget. Anyhow, all right. So yeah, thank y'all for joining in with that. If you want to go back and play that, you know, I know that was a short little in there, but very powerful. So if you want to go back and do that again, check that out, hit that up, get at it. I am going to be opening up some time. I work full time, so I do remodeling work at a remodeling business, and that's what I'm doing full time. So like I haven't been doing any type of work or really groups with people in a while. I've been stabilizing and called to do that, you know, kind of for myself here. But I will be opening up some time to do some one-on-ones, and this is gonna be just as called people that are at a certain stage in their path that feel really I feel called to bring clarity to certain distortions. I found a lot of insight and depth in my own path by looking and really seeing the harmonic distortions and how they work just within the 7 deadly sin framework, and you know, seeing where we get stuck in that on the path and in the world. You know, and that really is that in the world but not of it path, finding that Christic path in between those two. And anywho, so that can be very beneficial, but feel free, my email's in there, so you can send me an email, like, subscribe, share. The algorithm's horrible. Every time I share a video, I get like a new subscriber, and then immediately it's like one new subscriber, and then it goes back to the same number like the next day. I'm like, y'all are cute. This is cute, you know. It's like so, you know, people talk about that shadow ban stuff. I've been like, shadow ban out the yin yang, but I know what it is. They can't control me. So yeah, with that being said, we'll end it there. I love y'all. Peace and love. Happy Sunday. Bye.